All right, Abby, so that was the Star Wars The Gathering magic set.
Sure was.
So right now, what I'd like to do is we're going to rate this magic set using our patented CATS rating system.
Yeah, so what does that mean, Scott?
So CATS is C-A-T-S. It stands for complexity, awesomeness, translation, and satisfaction.
Yes.
So complexity is obviously how complex the set is. Is it too complicated to enjoy, or is it too easy, or whatever? Awesomeness is just when you look at the set, does it make your heart beat faster? Do you fall in love with it? Translation is how well does it translate whatever it's trying to do into magic cards. So how well does this set translate Star Wars into magic cards? It's the flavor of the set, basically. Yes. And then lastly, satisfaction, something that's hard to put into words. It's just how good do you feel about playing it? Do you want to play it again? Something like that.
Yes, so. It's hard to put into words, but it's easy to put into a letter grade.
Well, we'll do what we can. So each, like Abby said, each of them will be rated from an A to F system, and we'll let you guys know what we think. So starting with C, complexity. So I'm going to go ahead and rate this one a C. And the reason for that is because I think a lot of the mechanics are quite complex. I mean, even just looking right here at meditate, several times during the games it came up where Abby was like, oh, I can just meditate this back to my hand as an instant. Or
I never did.
When you saw it initially, you're like, oh, I can just do it as an instant, but you can't. So it's very unintuitive,
Yeah, I thought it was, that definitely made it complex, but not in a good way.
Right, exactly. And that's what we're kind of looking for. And it's, again, with something like repair, I mean, I kind of like the ability. It's very flavorful, but it's very complex. I mean, counters on a card in your graveyard, that's something that's only been done on one magic card before, and it was a rare in a commander set, and here it's on commons. And again, when you have to pay its casting cost, it's not like you just get to cast it for free, and it doesn't gain haste or anything, so it's not like suspend. It's just a lot of little things that just add up to all these unintuitive little things.
Yeah, it's sort of a hindrance to anything.
Yeah, I mean, and then going on to just the bounty counters, they're keeping track of all the bounty counters, and did something die with a bounty counter on it, and did I forget my triggers?
Yeah, that's just I gotta admit, the bounty mechanic, it seems like maybe on paper it seemed like a good idea, but actually playing it out, it did not really flesh out at all. And I think that, again, that added to the complexity in a not a good way.
Right. So that's why complexity gets a C. And real quick, I'd just like to, Abby and I have been brainstorming some other ways that this could have, been changed into other mechanics.
Exactly, yep.
So something for repair, something simpler would just be, you pay a cost, exile an artifact card from your graveyard, return this card to the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it. And I think that would play well with all of the artifact creatures in the set, with all the spaceships, where's the TIE Bomber, the TIE Interceptor, because there wasn't a ton of, despite there being a lot of artifacts in the set, there wasn't a lot of artifact synergies. So that might have been cool.
Yeah, that would tie the starships and the droids together.
Right, so that could be cool. Or if the creator just wants to, keep the artifact synergies low, just something like Swarm, because when I think of droids, I think of a droid army, and that's why they're strong. So when this creature enters the battlefield, if you control another droid, put a +1/+1 counter on it. So whatever, very simple, because these are things that would actually come up, because, we played, 3 exhibition games, a sealed game, and a draft, and we repaired a total of 1 time. We never meditated, and hate was rarely turned on. Bounty rarely came up. It's just, I want these mechanics to come up more often,
Yep.
So, whatever. And then moving on to meditate, again, we never meditated throughout the entire game, so I think just having it as an ability that when it comes into play, you can do it might be better. So just meditate for a little bit cheaper. When it enters the battlefield, you can pay whatever. If you do exile it, then return it to the battlefield. So you get its enters the battlefield trigger twice right away.
Exactly.
So, could be cool. And then for, again, the bounty counters. Bounty counters, very flavorful, very cool, but very complex and just not very good.
Yeah, I wanted it to be good. I mean, it just seemed kind of cool. And I just, just the word bounty sounds awesome. You really want something that's, that comes into an equal flavor with that word.
Right.
And the mechanic itself is just, it kind of lacks luster.
And going on that, something that comes with the flavor of that word, I think the +1/+1 counters in the set, there's so many +1/+1 counters with the monstrous creatures. I'm having trouble finding them right now, but
Raging
Nerf Herder, whatever. There's so many creatures that put +1/+1 counters on things that I think, having, instead of bounty counters, just have bounty trigger off of +1/+1 counters. So whenever a creature an opponent controls with +1/+1 counters on it dies, you get a bonus. And then that would be kind of cool because, +1/+1 counters are a way of signifying this creature's getting big, it's getting strong, we got to take it down. We're the bounty hunters.
So, I like that.
And then, there's kind of a risk of putting a +1/+1 counter on, creatures that your opponents control, but you don't have to, and you would only do it if you really want to, and you could get the bonus. You would really only do it if you're going to get the bonus, or you could just go around all this +1/+1 counter nonsense and just have, at the beginning of the end step, if a creature an opponent controlled died this turn, you get a bonus. So that way, like a bounty hunter, you get paid when something dies.
Yes, or if you bring it in alive.
Or if, well, not in this game. Unfortunately,
not in this game, but
that'd be a little bit harder to show.
Yeah.
And then the last thing is hate. I was just not a fan of hate at all. I think it was very unintuitive.
Yeah, I agree.
Because it's like, oh, I dealt damage to my opponent this turn through combat. Oh, right, hate says not combat.
Yeah,
and
it was messy.
There wasn't a ton of, this Sith Inquisitor costs 4, and his bonus isn't even that great, and if you turn it on, it's like, oh, I'll lightning bolt my opponent, but then I just wasted my lightning bolt, and it's just, I wasn't a fan of hate very much, but something that could work, one of my favorite cards in the set, it was in Abbey's draft set, but we didn't actually see it come out, is Rule of 2, which says as long as you control exactly 2 creatures, those creatures get +2/+0 and have Death Touch and Lifelink, which shows the Rule of 2 of the Sith. Very flavorful, very powerful, almost a little bit too powerful, but I think something like this could have really worked for the Sith ability.
I think so,
So
too.
something like Sith Marauder here, we have Apprenticeship. So as long as you control exactly 2 creatures you control have, when this creature enters the battlefield, it does whatever. So they could all have different things. Maybe as long as you control exactly 2 creatures, they both have Death Touch or Lifelink or +2/+2 or something like that.
Yeah.
And then that could also play into more sacrifice effects in the set, because red and black especially are the colors of sacrificing creatures. So if you have 4 or 5 creatures out and you're like, oh, I really want this apprenticeship ability, hey, sacrifice the ones who aren't worthy and you'll get down to 2 creatures and you get the apprenticeship bonus.
There you go.
Very flavorful. Again, these are all these things are just merely suggestions. They're not better than what the original creator did, and nor are we saying they're perfect, and even if they were to be implemented, they would probably need a lot of tweaking and whatever, but I'm just saying that the abilities, the mechanics, just barely came up during our games, and we want to see them more.
Yeah,
we want to enjoy them
we want
more.
to use them. We want to see them. We want fun, flavorful abilities, and not just bounty where you might use it.
Yeah.
And then if you do, it doesn't really work that great.
So anyway, moving on to the next part. So that was a long C for complexity.
Yeah.
Moving on to A for awesomeness. I'm going to give awesomeness a B. And the reason I give it a B is because, first of all, this set looks beautiful. The art, and just the way it's crafted, and all of those cards are perfectly worded, and the flavor text is great. Very beautifully done. A for awesomeness and presentation, for sure. But where it falls a little bit short in awesomeness was in the games. Like Abby and I said, it kind of just felt like it snowballed. Whoever had the early advantage just kind of snowballed, and then they won, and it just wasn't...
Right, it's not awesome to be out of balance.
I mean, there was a little bit of back and forth, but there wasn't a ton. So I'd say for awesomeness gameplay-wise, it's a C. And so rounding out the A and the C, I'll give it a B on average for awesomeness. Does that sound good to you?
That sounds good to me. I'd say that, for awesomeness, it depends on the person. I mean, obviously, if you're really into Star Wars and you're emotionally attached to it, then you're going to think, hell yeah, Star Wars, this is awesome. You're going to be a little bit jaded by that. And I'll admit, I was too. I was like, oh shit, yeah, Star Wars. This is going to be great. And, I'm gonna get in with the Jedi, or I'm gonna get in with the Sith, and either way, I'm gonna pick a faction, and I'm gonna go. You want to pick a faction, you want to go with it, and you want to run with it. But I feel like, you want to pick a bounty hunters, you want to pick monsters, you want to pick one of those factions and run with it. But in this set, I mean, it was really hard to mix and match the factions together. And especially if one faction had a weak ability, like the bounty hunters did.
Right, and I think that's a very good point you bring up. Like, in the draft, we were just completely ignoring a lot of the hate cards and bounty cards just because they weren't good unless you were completely building around them. And I think that when you have to ignore, like, a fifth of the set or even 2/5 of the set, that's, especially at common, that could be a bit of a problem. So
yeah.
All right. So moving on to translation. So how well is Star Wars translated into Magic cards here? I think that's probably the strongest point of this set. I'm gonna give it an A-.
Ooh, all right.
So an A would mean, you know, that the person brought the universe or whatever they were trying to convey into rares, uncommons, and commons. And I think I was a little skeptical coming in because I didn't know how they would bring Star Wars to commons, but there were so many great commons in this set, just like where is it? The Dagobah Moslug.
Yeah, Moslug,
just
man.
Little things like that are great. And I was really impressed by how much the Star Wars flavor was captured in this universe. I mean, everything you want from this, anything you think about in the Star Wars movie is pretty much here. So, I mean, there's all the characters.
You want a Starlight Pit, you got a Starlight Pit.
Exactly, the Starlight Pit right there.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. But the reason I give it an A- instead of just an A is because I wish the one thing that this set had was a bit more of the iconic Star Wars character stuff, like Luke, Leia, Han, Darth Vader, at common.
Right. I mean, like, and I guess that shows, especially with the lightsaber card, is that, like, every major character has a different lightsaber, and and they're very unique, and they all have, and obviously the wielder has different abilities.
Yeah.
So that, you know, a card that was made, a lightsaber card that was based on, say, Anakin would have more of an Anakin flavor ability.
Yeah, know? I mean that would be asking a lot of the creator, but I think one thing that would be easy to do is just instead of having some you know, like random common cards, like let's see if we can find one here. Like Cruelty of the Sith or something. I mean, yeah, that's fine, but it's a little generic. This could have easily been Darth Vader's whatever, you know? And that would have been a great uncommon or whatever. So instead of, you know, just replacing a couple of the common spells with just something like Darth Vader's whatever, or Luke Skywalker's whatever, or, you know, little things like that that would have brought the iconic Star Wars flavor to common would have been nice. So A- there for me. Mm-hmm. And then lastly, the S is for satisfaction. So here, an A would mean we want to play this again right now. We want to draft it, whatever, let's go.
More.
A B would mean, yep, I definitely want to play that again sometime, maybe in a few days, a week or so, or whatever. Mm-hmm. A C would mean, I'll play it again someday. Yeah, it was fun. I'll play it again someday.
Yeah, it was alright. Yeah.
A D would be, I'd rather not play that again. And an F, never again. Let us speak of that. Alright, so based on that scale, I think I'm going to give this a C. Overall, because I'm not running out to play this again, but you know, if I had a friend who was like really into Star Wars, and they kind of knew a little bit about magic, well, they probably have to know a bit more about magic if they're going to play it as is, because it's quite complex. Then, I'd be happy to play with them once or twice, you know? I think if you really like Star Wars, then this could definitely be a B for satisfaction, or even an A. But for us, who are just kind of average Star Wars fans, but we really like magic, I think giving it a C seems about right. What do you think, Abby?
I have to agree. You know, I agree with all your points that, you know, obviously, again, it brings up the point that if you're a Star Wars fan, you're probably going to rate it higher. But, you know, with my satisfaction overall is I was excited coming into it, and, you know, it came out kind of, I'd play it again, but I wouldn't play it like every day.
Yeah, okay.
So
cool. So that's our ratings. Let us know in the comments if you agree or disagree with them. And obviously, we don't have the final word on it. There's a lot of other opinions out there, and we'd love to hear them. And we also want to hear about other custom magic sets that you guys want me and Abby to play.
Yes.
So we love playing custom magic sets, and we'd love to play them, test them, and rate them, and let you guys know what we think of them. So let us know in the comments, let us know on Twitter, and we'll see you in the next video.
See you then.